Today we're taking a look at these NFL matches, which are happening on Saturday, August 27, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 360 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting picks that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you at least 5 betting picks for each game, a team pick, a total pick, and multiple prop bets based on facts and detailed explanation. So make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Chicago Bears versus Cleveland Browns. The Chicago Bears face the Cleveland Browns in the final preseason game, with both teams looking to take big leaps this season. The Bears finished last season with a 6-11 record, but under first-year coach Matt Eberflus and second-year quarterback Justin Fields are looking to take a big leap this year. The Browns had to handle a dramatic offseason and will be without their starting quarterback for the majority of the season, but with one of the more talented rosters in the NFL, look to rebound from an 8-9 season. The Bears are looking to wrap up the preseason with a 3-0 record, while the Browns are hoping to win their final preseason game to go to 2-1 before the season starts. Our team pick is Bears plus 5.5 points. And here is why. The Bears are 2-0 in the preseason thus far, while the Browns are 1-1. The Bears' new head coach Matt Eberflus said his starters will play up to a half. Browns head coach Stefanski was more noncommittal about his starters playing time, and it is a bit more understandable. While Eberflus and his staff are trying to instill a mindset and philosophy into his new team, Stefanski and his staff are entering their third year, and regular season production is of the utmost importance. The Bears' whole preseason and practice schedule have been about putting in and developing a whole new offense and defense, so it's not a surprise that the team will play its starters for up to a half in their final dress rehearsal before opening day, which will be 2 weeks away. Eberflus will be given some time to win. Stefanski likely doesn't have that luxury. After making the playoffs in his first season, the Browns took a step back in year 2. Another misstep this season, even with all the difficulties surrounding Watson's presence, would not look very good on Stefanski's watch. The Browns enter the season with a talented roster, but without their starting quarterback Deshaun Watson, who the team acquired this offseason but will be suspended for the first 11 games. As a result, the Browns will turn to Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback, but also will use the final preseason game to evaluate both Joshua Dobbs and Josh Rosen as backups. The running game is led by two-headed monster Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, but the team will continue to look for a running back to join the rotation and take on carries, putting a lot of eyes on D'Ernest Johnson and rookie Jerome Ford. The big question otherwise in the offense is the center position on an otherwise great offensive line, with injuries piling up at the position, making the preseason pivotal for Ethan Pocic and Brock Hoffman. Our total pick is under 40 points. And here is why. With points being down in the preseason and both teams looking stronger on the defensive side of the ball, expect both defenses to step up and control this game. The Browns should limit the Bears' offense, with Perrion Winfrey and Alex Wright particularly stepping up on the defensive line to generate pressure and limit rushing lanes. The Bears should eliminate the Browns' offense with Nicholas Morrow and Matthew Adams patrolling the middle of the field, while in the secondary, Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker step up and limit passing lanes while also creating turnovers on errant passes. Our prop bets are: first pick is Cleveland Browns over 15.5 points. Regarding this team's ability to score points, the Browns ranked 20th in football, maintaining an average of 20.5 points per contest. Last season, the Browns compiled 3,320 yards via the pass, in addition to an average of 195.3 passing yards per game, putting them at 27th in football. They maintained an average of 145.4 yards per game via the rush and rushed for 2,471 yards overall. The Cleveland Browns averaged 340.6 yards/game, which ranked them 18th in football. The Cleveland offense had 1,035 yards of penalties on 112 violations, which was good for 7th in the league in terms of helping out the other team. They threw 14 picks while allowing opponents to recover 8 fumbles, and they obtained 177 first downs. Cleveland gave up a total of 1,857 yards rushing, 109.2 yards per contest, and 13 touchdowns on the ground last season. They allowed the opposition 29 touchdowns through the air as well as 202.3 yards/game, ranking them 5th in the NFL. Their defense tallied 19 takeaways, 6 fumbles recovered and 13 picks last season. Overall, they allowed 371 points in total. The Browns' defense was on the field for 1,056 plays, which ranked 12th in the NFL. The Browns relinquished 21.8 points per game, which had them sitting 14th of all teams in the NFL. OA's second pick is Chicago Bears over 15.5 points. The Bears tallied 5,225 yards in total for last season. Chicago accumulated 180 first downs offensively, and they committed 106 infractions for 914 yards. Chicago amassed 16 touchdowns via the pass and 14 touchdowns on the ground. They turned the ball over 29 times, 20 picks and 9 fumbles lost. As a team, they averaged 118.7 yards in the run game, which had them sitting 14th in the National Football League. Regarding putting the ball in the end zone, the Chicago Bears had an average of 18.3 points per game. The Bears ranked 22nd in the NFL concerning their opponent scoring, conceding 23.9 points per contest. They allowed 4.4 yards per rushing attempt and 125.1 rushing yards per game for the previous season. For the year, they gave up 2,127 yards on the ground in 17 games. Concerning passing yards, the Bears gave up 3,257 yards, which had them ranked 3rd in the league. Over the course of their 17 games played last season, they gave up 191.6 yards per game via the pass as well as relinquishing a completion percentage of 65.8%. They allowed 316.7 yards per contest, which put them 6th in the NFL. They conceded 31 touchdowns via the pass as well as 14 touchdowns via the ground game. Our player props are: first pick is David Montgomery over 2.5 yards per attempt. Second pick is Andy Dalton over 60.5 QB rating. The Chicago Bears ended the season with a 6-11 mark. In their last contest of last season, the Bears played against the Vikings and took a loss by a score of 31-17. David Montgomery was the rushing leader for the Bears with 20 attempts for 72 yards, 3.6 yards per attempt. Darnell Mooney averaged 10.5 yards per catch by totaling 126 yards on 12 receptions. Andy Dalton went 33-48 with 325 yards through the air and 1 TD. He had a quarterback rating of 77.2 and finished the contest with 2 interceptions. In the running game, the Bears gave up 104 yards on 22 tries, which is an average of 4.7 yards per rush allowed. Chicago gave up 14 pass completions on 22 tries for 227 yards, and a completion rate of 63.6%. In all, they had 80 plays which converted into 356 yards. The Chicago Bears ended up running the ball 25 different times and recorded 90 yards, which had them averaging 3.6 yards per carry. Our third pick is Case Keenum over 80.5 QB rating. Our fourth pick is Jarvis Landry over 7.5 yards per reception. The Browns ended the year having earned an 8-9 record. For their last game of last season, the Browns went home victorious with a score of 21-16 when they faced the Bengals. Case Keenum, 2 TDs, walked away from the contest with 176 yards on 17-24 passing while his QB rating was 102.1. He tossed 1 pick and his YA was 7.33 yards. Jarvis Landry was the best receiver for the Browns, hauling in 6 balls for 75 yards, 12.5 yards per reception. D'Ernest Johnson ran the ball 25 times for 123 yards, finishing the contest with 4.9 yards per carry for Cleveland. The Browns finished the game with a total of 376 yards while running 66 plays, 5.7 yards per play. Cleveland ran the football for 5.0 yards per tote, finishing the game with 205 yards on 41 attempts. Cleveland relinquished 18 attempts on the ground for 79 yards, 4.4 yards per carry. The Browns' pass defense conceded a completion percentage of 51.7%, surrendering 103 yards on 15 out of 29 passing.